gleich, kommen gleich. Hello everyone and welcome to the brand new DTM season 2025. We're so psyched that finally we're back after a long winter break and we're here at Oschersleben. The sun is shining, we've got full house and we've got a phenomenal atmosphere. We're just so psyched to be back and you can look forward to a lot. We've got 24 cars, 9 different brands and we're going to hear all about it, everything that we're looking forward to from Thomas Voss. He's the head of Motorsport at ADSC. We're excited to see you with a big smile on your face, of course, because I guess it couldn't start any better than this, right?
No, it's a hard winter with lots of work, and now we see the result, and it's amazing. We're completely astonished about everything what's happening here. 24 cars on the grid, 9 manufacturers. We didn't expect that in last November.
It looks like it was a lot of hard work that you guys did in order to make this dream come true. And also Ford is finally back in the DTM, so it's really a beautiful, colorful mix.
Ford, Aston Martin, as new brands, as premium brands, with the heritage car Mustang from 1964. I guess it was the first car ever. And everything is done for a great season.
Absolutely. Thomas, we're looking forward to it. So thank you so much. And let's get racing in just a bit. We're going to be talking to the drivers because starting in P2, we've got a new face. We've got, here he is, Jordan Pepper, about to get into the car. But of course, he will wait for me because obviously we need to find out. Starting from P2, it's your first year in the DTM. You've got a smile on your face, so I guess you're psyched.
Yeah, happy. I mean, what a beautiful place to be. Front row on my first full season race here, first qualifying. Obviously, it went as well as we could have. I mean, yeah, we just have to see now. Now the big points are mattering right now. So let's see what we can do in the race.
It's going to be exciting. So best of luck for your first race here in the DTM, Jordan. And starting in pole position is Luki Auer, and he's just finishing up with the interview. So I'm going to go grab him here because, of course, Luki is very excited because the man who was actually in pole before was Ben Green, but he was disqualified. So now Luki is in pole position. We're excited for you because obviously going into your 6th season in DTM, this is a perfect start in the new season.
Yeah, really looking forward. Now it's the best position to start from and will be an interesting race.
And best of luck for the race. One more quick question. Do you like Oschersleben?
Yes, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I like it.
Let's see if after this race, hopefully it'll be your favorite. Best of luck, Luki. And now we're going to go see Thomas Preining, who's starting in P3, and he'll be psyched too because obviously being in P3 is always a good one. And yep, so here he is. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good. And starting in P3, I guess, is a good start for the first race in the season?
Yes, definitely. Much better than last year.
Absolutely. And what are you going to make of it? I mean, is Oschersleben one of your favorite tracks? It's tricky, but also it's challenging.
I've always enjoyed it here. I used to race a lot here in Formula 4 and Carrera Cup, so I know the track quite well, and it's always a fun one to come back to.
And looking around here, I mean, the sun's shining, we've got full house. Could it be any better than this?
Honestly, it's a great day for the fans, I think. The weather for April, I think, is very good in Germany, and a lot of racing action. Couldn't wish for more.
All right, well, best of luck and hopefully see you later on the podium, Thomas. All right, and yeah, let's go all the way back to P12 because that's where we're going to be finding the reigning champion, Mirko Bortolotti. But have a look at this. I mean, it's amazing. All the fans everywhere. I mean, it's just such phenomenal weather. We were talking about the weather before. I mean, how exciting is that? We've been waiting such a long time for finally this season to begin. It's been a long winter, obviously. Yeah, we're just excited to be here with all these fans. And I mentioned it before, the atmosphere is so brilliant. I mean, couldn't be any better. And also Oschersleben, I think Mirko Bortolotti was the one who actually described this track as being very tricky. It's all about strategy, so we're going to be finding out. Maybe he'll tell us something about his strategy. I guess not, knowing Mirko. He's going to have a little poker face. Yeah, it's going to be tough for him, obviously, because Mirko is starting in the middle of the field. But surely he will have an ace down his sleeve, because that's what he usually does. I mean, he is the reigning champion, and he's right here, and he's still in the middle of an interview, as I could just see. So we walked all the way here. We're going to wait just a few minutes, and maybe now it's time to hear from the commentators. Phew.
Well done, Verena. That's a long grid, isn't it? 24 cars all set to go. There's Jules Guenon. He makes his full season debut as well. It's going to be starting on the second row of the grid. Ready for round one of DTM 2025 here at a packed Oschersleben. The wind's got up since we were qualifying, but the temperature has also gone up. It was pretty cold for free practice yesterday, but it's nearly 18 degrees now, and the track temperature is pretty hot at 27 degrees. The wind chill factor making it feel colder than it really is. That meant that we saw some super quick times in qualifying, and we did have the lap record broken by several drivers. Ben Green on his debut qualifying on pole position initially, but then later on, sadly for him and for the team, Emil Frey Racing was disqualified for being 6.5 kilograms underweight. So Ben, sadly, is at the other end of the grid now, starting right at the back of this 24-car lineup. And as Verena said, it means that Lucas Auer is on pole position in the Mercedes, having spent the last 4 seasons racing for Winward. He's now racing for the Landgraf team, so he switched teams, but still, of course, a Mercedes driver. And it's the Austrian's first pole position since the end of 2022. Hockenheim 2022, the last time that Lugi was on pole, the season in which he finished as the runner-up in the championship. And the last time he was on pole, he won the race. So he's looking for his first win for a couple of seasons as well. Jordan Pepper, though, alongside, has been quick all the way through the weekend. The South African, who made his debut in the DTM at Sachsenring last season, had a 10th place finish but in Vergrasser, but also got involved in a big accident, which was not his doing, involving the BMWs and Marco Wittmann and Rene Rast. So that's the front row of the grid, but we can go back to the grid now and catch up with Verena.
And here he is, the reigning champion, Mirko Bortolotti. Good to see you again here. And yeah, starting from P12, it's the middle of the field. It's going to be a tough one, but Oschersleben is one of your favorite tracks, so hopefully you have an ace down your sleeve.
Well, we will push hard as usual. We've had a fantastic qualifying, to be honest. I had a really, really good lap. The car was on rails, was really good. Yeah, but we're struggling a little bit on the straight line. So we know exactly analyzing what went wrong or what didn't really work for us. So we need to improve a little bit our straight line talent. But other than that, looking forward to the race, obviously from P12. We will try to do the best we can with a clean race, hopefully stay out of trouble. It's really important. Yeah, good strategy, and hopefully we can climb up the order and be in the points. That's the main goal, score some points, because obviously it's a long season ahead. So let's focus on this race and try to make the maximum out of that.
Let's do that. And I did read up on, you were saying strategy is very important here, especially at Oschersleben. So hopefully you have a good one there.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, last year didn't work out for us, even starting from pole. Yeah, so everything is possible. I think it's going to be an exciting one. Looking forward to this race. Hopefully it's going to be a good one.
All right, crossing our fingers. Thank you so much, Mirko. Best of luck. And now, of course, we're very excited because we're about to go racing. So let's do it. Hold on tight and hear your commentators.
Great stuff. Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Great to hear from the reigning champion, still a Lamborghini driver, but now having switched with the disappearance of SSR Performance from the DTM to Abt, and he is going to be a man on a mission. He's a super consistent driver, and he won 1 race last year on his way to the championship title, but 7 podiums, points in every race. It's just damage limitation, as Martin Tomczyk, the team principal at Abt, said to me just before we came into the commentary box. Let's see what we can do. Happy with the lap, but the team saying that the car, compared to other Lamborghinis, 3 or 4 kilometers an hour down on top speed down the back straight. That's where he was losing all his time. There's Maro Engel. More to come from Maro, potentially. 3rd in last year's championship. He's 5th on the grid, but he said his best lap, he got held up in traffic. So he's okay with where he is. He qualified 6th, got promoted to 5th, but he feels there was a better lap in it there. So we'll see what Maro can do. Tommy Preining has been at the front in the pre-season test here at Oschersleben. He has been at the front or near the front in the practice session. So he would have been a bit disappointed to qualify 4th, but let's see what he can do. He's been on pole position here. Can he get his first win at this circuit? It's all new, but one thing will remain the same. Everybody trying to get that DTM Trophy Championship title. Welcome everybody then to Oschersleben, here to the east of Germany. We're about 30 kilometres from the very pretty city of Magdeburg, and we've been blessed with some lovely weather today. It was warm on Thursday. Yesterday it was pretty cold, but today it's got warmer and warmer. It's some super quick times in qualifying. Lap record broken by several drivers. Lucas Auer on pole position for the first time since the end of the 2022 season here at Oschersleben, but looking for his first win, his first podium at this circuit. Let's take a look at Oschersleben then. It's just about 3.7 kilometres long for 22 DTM races here over the years, the first of which came back in 2025 years ago. And that was the third round of the championship, and it was a dominant weekend for Manuel Reuter and his Opel. 2 races here, and Manuel won both of them. Went on to finish second in the championship behind Bernd Schneider, who went on, of course, to win in total 5 championship titles. We had a break away from the circuit in DTM for a number of years. When we were last here in the Class 1 era, it was 2015, and it was a victory in one of the races for Timo Glock, who is back in the DTM this season for the first time for a few years, now a McLaren driver. We came back in 2023. We've had 4 GT3 class races here as the DTM, and we've had 4 different pole sitters up until today, now 5, and 4 different race winners. Lucas Auer on pole position, Jordan Pepper at the start of his first full season on pole in the TGI Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini, and Thomas Preining, who was the 2023 champion, starts just behind them. There then is the grid. Auer and Pepper on the front row, ready to go to war at the start of this season. Thomas Preining and Jules Gounon, who makes his first full season in the championship after debuting at Hockenheim at the end of last season. Then it's Maro Engel and Jack Aitken, the only driver in the field to have had more than 1 podium at this circuit in the current driver lineup. Ian Nguyen and Luca Engstler are up next, starting in 7th and 8th, Porsche and Lamborghini respectively. Ricardo Feller in the sole Audi in the championship, and Marco Wittmann, former double champion, make up the top 10. Ben Durr with his second best qualifying starts 11th. Mirko Bortolotti, though, back in 12th. Maurice Schuring, another of our 5 rookies, and Thierry Vermeulen make it an all-Dutch row 7, and then row 8 we got Max Powell and René Rast, who said the car felt as quick as it could be but struggled with speed around here in his BMW. Tom Callender, youngest ever DTM driver, 17 years of age, and Nicky Tim are next with Arjun Maini and Gilles Magnou up next. We've got the Aston Martins in the championship as well. 9 brands. There's Timo Glock. There's Nicola Bart alongside him in the other Aston Martin for Come To You Racing. Fabio Scherer back in the DTM as well. Starts 23rd and 24th on the grid, with the grid sheet turned upside down after qualifying on pole, but then subsequently being disqualified for a car that was significantly underweight. Ben Green, who is one of now 3 drivers to be racing Ferrari 296s in the DTM, all run by the Swiss team Emil Frey Racing. So that's how it lines up. The question marks are aplenty. We've got a slightly different race format this year, in that the races are slightly shorter, 55 minutes plus 1 lap. We can add 2 laps on if laps are lost to a safety car. We've got 1 mandatory pit stop between 20 and 40 minutes in the race. Tomorrow, on the Sunday race, a new format will see 2 mandatory pit stops. But for now, the grid is being cleared, and we're just a few minutes away from the start of the season. My name's Chris Hartley. I'm here in the commentary box at Oschersleben, out of the sunshine, enjoying a bit of shade because it's very hot out there. And alongside me, ready to help talk you through the season, it's a very good afternoon to Brian Oliver.
Good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody. If you're watching around the world, enjoying this glorious German sunshine. It has felt like a long winter. The anticipation has been building since about October of last year. So many stories, so much excitement for this year. Now, all the questions can stop. The answers are going to start coming. Who is going to be the champion of 2025? It's a slightly different feel to it this afternoon because the track is at its hottest point it has been since we arrived here on Thursday, 26.9 degrees centigrade. So handling might have changed even since qualifying this morning, but it is Lucas Auer on that pole position. I wonder if Uncle Gerhard is watching on to see if he can earn his 10th win in the DTM. The atmosphere is electric, and we are getting ready to go on the first formation lap of the season.
Could be a good day for Austria. This Austrian driver on pole, Austrian team starting second, another Austrian driver starting third. Auer, Pepper and Preining then lead the field away onto the formation lap. Great to see 9 different brands on the grid, with Ford and the Mustang. Ford coming back since the first time in the DTM since the 1994 season. They've had 30 wins in the DTM and a championship title as well. But back with the Mustang developing that car. A familiar team though running it, HRT, Hubert Haupt's team, the Haupt Racing team. So development season. Great to have Arjun Maini back, the Indian driver. Had a great season last year to finish 7th overall, his best season in the championship thus far. And Fabio Scherer, who last raced just 1 season in DTM. It was the last year of the Class 1 cars in 2020, and the very likeable Swiss driver is in the other Ford Mustang. Then we've got Gilles Magnus and Nicolas Bart as 2 of our rookies, the 2 Belgian drivers for the Belgian Come To You racing team, who've only been involved in GT3 racing for 2 seasons now, and only 1 last year with the Aston Martin in the GT World Challenge Series. They were the winners last year of the Spa 24-hour race. One of their drivers was Niki Tim, who of course is on the grid. He's still an Aston Martin factory driver, but he races the Lamborghini, the Abt car, alongside Mirko Bortolotti, who won the title last year and became the first Italian to win the DTM as a driver since Nicola Larini back in 1993. You get 4 sets of Pirelli tyres to run here at Oschersleben to last the 2 qualifyings and 2 races, and it is a case of having a new Pirelli compound this year as well, which explains perhaps some of the really quick times we saw in qualifying, with that new lap record now going to Lucas Auer. The tyres are completely sustainable, made from sustainable forests as well, the rubber that goes into them, and we're on 100% synthetic fuel as well now in the DTM, so more environmental steps from the DTM, showing forward thinking there. What it means is that the emissions from these cars 75% less than they have been previously. So they are lined up, ready to go racing for the first time here at Oschersleben. 2 races this weekend. We've got 8 rounds and 16 races of the championship, and it is going to be another cracker. Chris Hartley and Brian Oliver then to talk you through what promises to be an epic 2025 season. Lucas Auer and Jordan Pepper about to pull the trigger on the season. DTM 2025 gets underway, and the Austrian gets the better start in the Mercedes on the run down towards turn 1. Trying to show his nose in the mirrors is Jordan Pepper. It's side by side for third, but Preining has lost out to Jules Gounon in the Mercedes, a bit wide through the hotel turn for the race leader, but he holds on to the race lead. Great start for Jules Gounon, then straight up into the top 3 for the driver 4th on the grid. And then Preining 4th, Barrow Engel just behind them. Looking back at the battles as they make their way through this circuit, the twists and turns here. We've got the high-speed chicane to come. Car 71 under investigation for a false start, which is Max Powell in the Powell Motorsport Lamborghini, one of the 14 different race winners in the DTM that we've got in this year's high-caliber field. 4 champions in there as well. On board with Mirko Bortolotti, trying to come then from the middle of the grid in his first race as an Abt driver, but it's been a really good middle stint in this lap for the race leader, because Lucas Auer has pulled, I reckon, 2 or 3 car lengths advantage over Jordan Pepper. It's Gounon in 3rd, 4th place Preining, 5th place Engel, and then in 6th place Lucas Engler has made a good start to the race as well, and the other Grasser racing team Lamborghini, so good starts for him. Rennie Rast looks like he's made a few places up as well. There was a big change to the BOP and the ride height before the weekend on that BMW. They raised the car up, and then they put it back to what it was last year. It's got an Evo kit on the car, but it does struggle a bit round here. It's a big machine, the BMW. The Fords might struggle, the Aston Martins might struggle around this particular circuit as well. But I tell you what, Brian Oliver, the Mercedes is not struggling. Lucas Auer is away, 1.2 seconds clear after lap 1.
Yeah, that's a heck of a start from Lucky, isn't it? As he leads the way here in that Mercedes. It was a great start from Luca Engstler. He had a wild moment going around turn 2, the hotel turn. Picked up a couple of places, so a good start from him. Already mentioned, car 71 was under investigation for a false start, was from ducking out of line marginally before the lights went green, but now we're told there will be no further action, so good news there for Max Powell. Rest of the cars filing through. Everybody's made it around the tricky first lap. We're in for what will be an exciting, well, still another 52 3/4 minutes remaining.
A pinch yourself moment for 17-year-old Tom Callender, youngest ever winner of the ADAC GT Masters Championship last year, now the youngest ever driver in the DTM. if he can win the title in the next 3 years, he might beat Pascal Wehrlein's record of becoming the youngest ever champion. But for now, he is staring at the back of a big blue BMW driven by a 3-time champion, René Rast. Here is René coming into shot, and they're right behind him. In the other Landgraf Mercedes, the pink and red machine, is Tom Callender, just 17 years of age, still at school, racing with these legends out on track. And he's probably lower down the grid than he should be, Brian, because on his hot lap right at the end of the session, he got held up by a couple of cars that were on their way into the pits, into the last corner.
Yeah, it was a scary moment. He was on his hot lap and there were 2 cars waiting for him. Here we go, another look at the start. You'll see in the background Max Powell jumping out of line, but a great start from Lucas Auer there. You also saw just in the previous shot Tom Callender picking up the dirt as he was pushing hard to get past René Rast. This was that first corner, the tricky hotel turn. It's quite a technical turn, quite hard to get it right. Great view on board with Jack Aitken. This is what it looked like, staring at the back of the yellow Mamba of Jules Gounon. So good to have Jules Gounon in the DTM for 2025. And then that drag race into turn 1, the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Great opportunity to pick up some places or maybe throw it all away. Rest of the circuit, not so many overtaking opportunities. Thomas Priding on board, had a look to the outside of Jules Gounon, but then was able to slot back in to that 4th place. So here comes our race leader, Lucas Auer. Big gap to Jordan Pepper. You can see how hard they're pushing at a turn 10 as plumes of dust rise up into the air.
Yeah, Auer 1.6 seconds clear of Pepper for the time being. Callender quicker than Rast, isn't he? Just shows his nose. And, you know, he can't take these drivers with too much awe. He's got to get his elbows out and show them that he's here to win races and to become a star of the future as well. So he can't show them too much respect. And he certainly looks like he's being held up a little bit now by the BMW, which has lost track with Thierry Vermeulen's Ferrari. There's a big gap back between the Ferrari and the BMW as it goes over the line now in 15th place. The top 15 score points, so extra incentive for Callender to get past the 3-time champion René Rast. And right behind, he's got one of the Mustangs as well. Arjun Mine, he shows his nose, the door opens up and Arjun goes through. Lovely move on the way to turn 2, Hotel Curve. It's one of the slower corners, 2nd gear, 90 kilometres an hour. And Arjun just saw the gap opened up. He didn't need a second invite. There is the other Mustang, the red and black one of Fabio Scherer, the Swiss driver. Very good skier in his youth as well. Used to ski at national level as a junior, but went down the motorsport route. But only 1 place away now from being in the points is Arjun Mine. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Ford could get into the points on their return to the DTM. Auer leads then in the Mercedes, Pepper in the Lamborghini 2nd, Gounon in 3rd, and Jules Gounon, well, if you're not familiar with him, yes, he might be new to DTM in terms of first full season, but he's been an ADAC GT Masters champion. He's won all of the big endurance races, Spa 24-hour, Bathurst 12-hour. He's a great race with loads of GT experience. Here's Arjun Mine, a replay of him going side by side with Maurice Schuring. This was before he got past Tom Callender and just muscling his way through.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage there as well on the right rear as Arjun Mine. You can see part of the panel hanging loose, but that doesn't worry him, does it? Give Maurice Schuring the elbow treatment as he goes past the Aranya car. Now he's on to Tom Callender as well. There's a replay of that. So Arjun Mine, he's certainly getting to grips with the Mustang.
Yeah, absolutely right. But it's a muscle car, so I suppose he's got to muscle his way through, hasn't he, in that big Ford. Great to hear the V8 of the Mustang and the big V8, rumbling V8 of the Aston Martin as well. It's 4.8 litres. So Mighty has now got ahead of René Rast. Look, so Mighty is into the points here. Great stuff from the Indian driver. He said to us when we spoke to him at the start of the weekend, it wasn't too different to driving the Mercedes.
Keep pushing like this.
Focus writ all over the eyes of the Austrian, Lucas Auer. You know, it's strange to call somebody who's been in the championship since 2015, all but 1 year in the championship since 2015, a dark horse. He's a 9-time winner. He's been a runner-up in the championship, but he might just go a bit under the radar at the start of this season. That's a replay of where Arjun Mine got past René Rast. So he's picked up 2 places in less than a lap, hasn't he?
Yes, Arjun Mine, certainly he's moving forwards, isn't he? Next up the road for him is Thierry Vermeulen, but the Mustang is certainly looking very strong. So replay again, going into that first turn, just finding the gap. René Rast has been struggling for pace in that BMW all day long, and they're scratching their head a bit on that. It's a circuit that doesn't seem to be favouring the Schubert Motorsport home race.
The other move that happened on that lap was for 10th place, Ben Durr in the McLaren, getting ahead of Ricardo Feller in the Audi. And there's a story to be told there about that Audi, because Ricardo Feller was meant to be here as a Porsche driver, but the deal fell through, the team dropped out, and here he is, Brian, in a car that's very familiar to him and to you as well, as we get Arjun Miney's team radio.
Move. Now we have to close the gap.
Don't worry, he is. He's already left them behind, hasn't he? Calendar ahead of Rast as well in the background. So Rast now a couple of places outside of the points, really struggling, the three-time champion. But Ricardo Feller's lost a place, but he's still in the points in 11th in the Audi with a new team to DTM behind him, Brian.
Yes, the Land Motorsport team, and it was the team that he was with when he won the GT Masters title back in 2021. It was Montplast by Land in those days, and along with Christopher Mies in that Audi R8, he won the championship. Ricardo Feller's dad was so excited by it all, he kept that car, put it in a museum. He put a lacquer on the bodywork to keep the patina of it, but when the Porsche deal fell through for Ricardo Feller, they went, okay chaps, let's open up the museum. They pulled the car out of the museum, stuck some new panels on it, the new Evo kit, and Ricardo Feller is racing that very same car that he won the 2021 GT Masters title with. It is a collector's piece. Don't bend the car, because it has got a lot of emotional and sentimental value. Oh, he's doing a pretty good job though, isn't he? In 11th place, well into the points. We'd love to see Ricardo Feller doing well. Anyone who thought that Audi were out of it after last year, very much mistaken. Ricardo Feller brings the lone Audi to DTM this year.
Yeah, Ricardo was on the podium here last year at the start of the season as an apt driver in that Audi R8. So great to see the very likeable Swiss driver back, third in the championship 2 years ago. And also worth noting that last year in the other apt Audi, with what turned out to be a cracked chassis, they didn't know it at the time, but Kelvin van der Linde, you might remember, struggled in the first race of the season. He finished 12th in this race. And who's 12th at the moment? An apt driver, Mirko Bortolotti. So not the ideal start to the season, but they can take heart from the fact that Kelvin had a bad start to the season, but then went on to be a real championship contender for the rest of the year, didn't he? And only lost out to Mirko Bortolotti on the last day of the season. So there's a long way to go in this championship. Damage limitation, Bortolotti in the points. He was in the points in every race last year. It's worth also mentioning or reminding you of the fact that Thomas Preining was in the points in every race last year and every race the year before. So his run now is 32 races consecutively in the points, Thomas Preining, a record in the DTM. This, if he finishes in the points in the top 15, will be the 33rd consecutive. The only other one that's close to him, who went most of last season until the very last weekend of the year, being in the points in every race for the last 2 years, was Ricardo Feller. But he did have one non-points finish. So Preining on his own now, and there he is in 4th place. He got pole here 2 years ago, led the race fairly comfortably until a pit stop infringement meant he got a penalty, a drive through the penalty box, which is on the exit to the left-hander at Hassenrode, the third corner of the lap. You have to go through that. There he is to the right of the picture. If you've got a penalty, you have to drive through it at 50 kilometres an hour. It cost you about 5 seconds, and it cost Thomas Preining a win 2 years ago around this circuit. He ended up finishing in 3rd place. Lucas Auer will take heart from the fact that for the last 4 races here, the last 2 years, the victor has come from pole position 3 times out of the last 4. And on the time he didn't, it was Thomas Preining who only lost the win because of that penalty, really. So he's in a great position. He was pretty pleased, wasn't he, with 2nd on the grid. He's really pleased to be on pole and really pleased to be overtaking. Here is Maurice Schuring catapulting down the inside of the BMW. He needed to do that, Brian, because look how much time they have lost to the pack. René Rast is driving a car which just is not performing around this circuit.
Well, there's a reason why Maurice Schuring is sat in that seat. He won the GT category of the Le Mans 24-hour race last year. We've been watching his progress as he's come through Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup and Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. And now the 3 times champion that was ahead of him. He is no respecter of titles, is Maurice Schuring, as he goes sailing through. And he's already breaking well clear of the BMW. So Maurice Schuring, a very welcome addition to the ranks of DTM this year. René Rast struggling with that car. Look how much of a gap he's opened up. Even on the replay, we can see Nicky Tim also pushing through as well. So René Rast really is struggling.
Yeah, and he said it might be a tough weekend right at the start of the weekend, but he probably didn't think it was going to be this tough.
Ben Green passed as well from the very back
of the grid. Yeah, so yeah, Ben's made a bit of progress here, hasn't he? So another place gained for the debutant in the number 10 Emil Frey racing Ferrari. He's already pulling clear of BMW as well. Yeah, the other BMW's doing okay. It's a home race as well for Schubert Motorsports. Had 3 BMWs last year, but no Sheldon van der Linde back for this year, the 2022 champion, not in the DTM this year. So 2 cars, 2 BMWs for Schubert. It's their home race, this circuit. And they led the race last year, one of the races here last year, right up until a couple of laps to go with Marco Wittmann. We had a fuel issue and there was heartbreak and the car stopped. So there is a possibility to do well here, and Wittmann is going okay. The 2-time champion is in 8th place at the moment. The news that I heard from the pit lane and the paddock in between qualifying and the race is we get a replay of René Rast losing that an extra place, this time to the Ford Mustang of Fabio Scher, which is going backwards, isn't he? The news I heard was that René Rast pretty much matched his teammate in the qualifying in Sector 1 and Sector 3, but he lost out in the middle sector. That was where he lost all of his time. And they're just trying to figure out exactly what the issue is, but it is really unusual to see René Rast struggling like this, the car not performing, whereas Marco Wittmann seems to be going okay in 8th place currently. Lucas Auer leads the race then. We're fast approaching the pit stop window, aren't we? The middle 20 minutes of this now 55-minute plus 1 lap race. He's got a 3.5-second advantage on Jordan Pepper, who in turn is about a second clear of Jules Gounon. And Jules is about 6/10 up on Thomas Preining in 4th. Maro Engel's not far back in 5th. Luca Engster still rounds out the top 6. Jack Aitken, a former winner here, 7th. 3 wins for him last season. Marco Wittmann, Ian Nguyen and Ben Durr round out the top 10.
Yeah, 3.5 seconds across the line. He comes now up to 3.669. So Lucas Auer really taking this race by the scruff of the neck. And just dominating at the front at the moment, but it can all change. We've still got 40 3/4 minutes remaining. Jordan Pepper looking very solid in that 2nd place. Jules Gounon has Thomas Preining for company, and you get the feeling that Thomas isn't done yet. And in the background, you discount him at your peril. Maro Engel loitering there. Luca Engster after that good start in the 6th place ahead of Jack Aitken, a winner here last year, and Marco Wittmann. But overtaking, proving to be tricky here. We knew that was going to be the case. This is why qualifying this morning and indeed tomorrow morning is so very important. But at the moment, we look at that battle for the last of the podium positions. Jules Gounon in the yellow Mamba with the champion from 2 years ago, Thomas Preining, monstering his every move.
Absolutely. Preining will be hoping that his team, Manthey EMA, can perform the excellent work they did in the pit stops last year, because they pulled off some absolutely brilliant pit stops during the course of the year to win the pit stop challenge from Winwood. The fastest 3 pit stops in each race are awarded points. It's an incentive for the team to try and win that championship. The fastest pit stops that we saw last year both came at Hockenheim. Actually, one from Schubert and one coming from Winwood Racing. For Sheldon van der Linde and Maro Engel respectively, sub 6 seconds stationary time. Ridiculous. 5.9 seconds stationary time. Here, as we start to think about the pit window, the whole time it takes to go through the pits, in and out, including the stop, the top 6 times from last year were averaging between 33 and 34 seconds. So that's the sort of gap you need to have, 33 to 34 seconds and a good pit stop to be able to get back out in front of the pack. So just bear that in mind. So equates to around about the 1st sector in a bit, if you like, as we get the wonderful drone shots here of what is becoming, Brian, a closer battle, because Jules Gounon is starting to be put under quite a bit of pressure here from Tommy Preining in the Porsche.
Yeah, I was looking into the hotel turn, and certainly Thomas Preining is able to take a much tighter line through the corner, a bit of push in that Mercedes, particularly around turn 2, but he's starting to look a little bit vulnerable, isn't he, in that Mercedes, and you feel as though the Porsche is maybe having to think about getting close enough to make a move. He's a little bit far back there around turns 11 and 12, but in a moment they'll come around 13 and 14 along the pit straight. Now, is he going to be close enough to pick up a slipstream and make a move into turn 1? I wager he's probably just a little bit too far back at the moment, so maybe Jules Gounon just responding a little to Thomas Preining. While all that's going on, Lucas Auer is opening up about 1 to 2 tenths of a second each lap. His gap now to just a fraction under 4 seconds at the front.
Yeah, Auer, the only driver in the 123s last time around, only just, but a 123.921. The chasing pack in the low to mid 124s. The race lap record around here set by Ian Nguyen in the Manthey Porsche 2 years ago with a in the Bernard Porsche 2 years ago. 122.6 is the race lap record around here. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets beaten at some point once the cars are a bit lighter of fuel and got the tyres on, that the best performing tyres. Remember, the top 10 in qualifying have to start the race on the tyres in which they qualified. So they have to start on their new tyres, the lap in which you set your fastest lap in qualifying. Everybody else gets free choice. So you could start with a more used set of tyres potentially if you're out of the top 10. All sorts of strategies could come into play tomorrow when we have this extra pit stop, but we'll focus on that for tomorrow's race. Maro Engel's getting a bit closer in the background as well, isn't he? So the last lap for Jules Gounon was a 124.2, 124.3 for Engel, so the gap was similar, but he just looks a bit closer on this lap. Let's have a look as they come through. Well, that said, Gounon is a bit less under pressure from priming than he was coming out of the last corner this time, isn't he?
It seems to me it's during the technical part of the circuit, around between turns 4 and 10 is when Preining manages to get a bit closer. And again, you can see him taking a much tighter line into the hotel turn 2. And then it's around here, this is turn 3, and towards turn 4, where Preining gets nice and close to him. And then it's out of turn 10, where Jules Gounon seems to be able to open up the gap a little bit more and break clear. But you just feel as though Jules Gounon is driving fairly defensively at the moment. Thomas Preining looking reasonably comfortable in that 4th place. Closes up through this section, now round into turn 7 at the moment. You can see again that tighter line into the corner around to turns 8 and 9, and then out of turn 10 as Jules Gounon's team look on, getting ready, because very, very shortly the pit window will open and he'll be coming into that. Now along this kind of back straight out of turn 10 is where Gounon has in the past been able to break a little bit clear of the Porsche.
So Lucas Auer 4.2 seconds clear in the lead now. Remember last year he won the GT World Challenge title alongside Maro Engel as teammates. They had a fantastic season in GT World Challenge. Maro Engel, since the end of the DTM season, has gone on to win yet another race at the GT World Cup event at Macau as well, around the streets of Macau, where he's an absolute legend, and he's looking good in 5th place. But there you can see a huge gap for the race leader, Lucas Auer, looking for his first win since the end of the 2022 season. He started the year at Bathurst, Lucas Auer, in the 12-hour race there, finished 5th with a fella called Maxi Goetz alongside him, our former champion, racing with him. As into the pits comes Ricardo Fella right at the very beginning of the pit window. So it should be 33 to 34 seconds, the total time that he'll lose here with the in and the out and sticking to the pit lane speed limit. But stationary time, you really want it to be sub 7 seconds to be a good time. The Land team are not used to performance pit stops. The series they normally race in, you have a minimum pit stop time, so let's see how they get on. But he has brought with him a race engineer and a data engineer that came from his time at Abs Motorsport. He's lit the tyres up there, that's for sure. Good. That looked actually pretty good to me. The stationary time, 9.6 seconds. It's not world-beating, but it's not terrible either.
No, it's pretty good for a first one in anger, so to speak. So he's got that done and dusted. He doesn't need to make any more compulsory, mandatory stops during this race. So that's all done and dusted. Everybody else still out on track at the moment. So this is where the strategy comes into play. An unusual pit exit here deposits the car right on the racing line on turns 1 and 2, the hotel turn. Here comes our race leader. He's going to have Ricardo Fella right in front of him. I expect he'll dispatch him fairly rapidly. But there's our race leader. You can see the gap between 1st and 2nd, and then you can see that fight for 3rd or 4th. Right, here come a few more cars into the pits. The reigning champion, Mirko Bortolotti, also Thierry Vermeulen just behind him.
So all 4 tyres have to be changed. There's no minimum stationary time. In and out as quick as you can. A maximum of 2 wheel guns. 6 team members can carry out the pit stop. One of them has to solely operate the air lance though, and one of them has to work as the lollipop operator. So 4 of them working in terms of changing the tyres on the cars. We've got Thierry Vermeulen already underway with his pit stop, the Emil Pro Racing team. And here they're having his first pit stop as an amateur driver is the reigning champion, the #1 on the car, Mirko Bortolotti. Away he goes, and taking an early stop, and he's not the only one, is he? Vermeulen in, and then we've got Timo Glock making his first pit stop of the season as well. The former Formula 1 driver, 90-odd Grand Prix starts for Timo. Best of 5th in the DTM Championship back in the Class 1 era. And great to see Timo, a very popular figure back. His experience will help, hopefully, to develop the team, and certainly he's working so far. Ben Durr into the top 10. He's got a new McLaren for this year, whereas Timo Glock is racing the car that Clement Schmidt raced last year. It has got an issue with the car, though, which he's had since the test at the start of the season here, with a balance issue trying to resolve Timo Glock, which is why he's been further down the grid. No tyre warmers allowed. These tyres are very, very slippery, and this is Lucas Auer now in amongst those that have made their pit stop, lapping them effectively, because he's still got to make his pit stop. But with no tyre warmers, these Pirellis, even this newer compound for 2025, it takes a good 3/4 of a lap, maybe a lap, to get the tyres up to temperature. Up until that point, it's like dancing on ice. Let's hear it from the race leader. Had to be pretty alert there, didn't he? Because as you said, Brian, that pit lane exit gets right in the way, doesn't it, where they rejoin on that run through into Turn 2 at Hotel.
Yes, and Ricardo Feller, of course, he's in his own race. He's trying to get heat into the tyres and get everything up to temperature. And with the race leader behind him, he doesn't want to lose too much ground while letting the race leader through. But Lucas Auer still very much in control, 4.5 seconds clear of Jordan Pepper. But it would be a bit of a tragedy to trip over a back marker, so just needs to be a little bit cautious there. Jules Gounon still on that 3rd place, still with Thomas Preining for company. Here we come out along the pit straight. Expect Ricardo Feller to give way to Lucas Auer before too long. Well, not into turn 1 or around into the hotel turn. In the background, there's Thierry Vermeulen also trying to generate some heat in the tyres. Right, Jules Gounon rolls the dice into the pits. Comes the yellow Mamba.
By a fraction, Ricardo Feller came into the pits too early, so he's got to come in and pit again. It won't have counted as a mandatory stop. That's just come through from race control. So he was just, it was 1 or maybe 2 seconds before time crossed the line into the pits, and they just misjudged that. So Ricardo Feller, I'm afraid, has got to come in again, because it won't count as his mandatory stop. Here then is Jules Gounon for his first stop in this season's DTM. Rears changed first, then fronts dropped off the jacks. Away he goes. Best stop we've had so far, 7.1 seconds. That's really good. Yeah. Previously, the best one had been Max Power with 8.6. So there you go. That's a 1.5 seconds gained on the other best pit stopper. And look at him weaving this way to that, just to try and get some heat into those tyres. He's going to rejoin with a completely blank track in front of him and behind him, because the front runners are on the other side of the lap, about half a lap away from him. So that's worked out nicely, hasn't it? Because he's got nobody to hold him up. And that then is our race leader coming into the pits, and 2nd and 3rd. Auer in, Pepper in, Preining in, and now it becomes a race between the pit crews, Brian.
So keeping to the speed limit, here comes our race leader, Lucas Auer. Meanwhile, out on the track, Jules Gounon will be going hell for leather, trying to do an undercut on Jordan Pepper, no doubt at all. Thomas Preining staring at the back of the car in front, so in they come. They must not break the speed limit, so they will come. The pit crew will be waiting. Their hearts will be racing. This is where it really, truly does become a team sport. They will be ready to jump into action. The driver needs to stop exactly on the marks. Jordan Pepper stops. Thomas Preining stops. So the crew get to work. The rear tyres first, then the front tyres. That is in the rules. They have to do the rears, then the fronts. Thomas Preining, that's a great stop from Manthey EMA. Rejoins out into the traffic just in front of Jordan Pepper. How close was that for Jordan Pepper to steal what could have been the lead from Lucas Auer?
And Marco Wittmann right in front of him as well, coming in for his pit stop. That was very tight. Jules Gounon, for reference, he's just coming into the last corner, but his tyres now getting a bit of heat into them. So they'll rejoin. They're a long way clear of him at the moment, but they are going to be really struggling for 3/4 of a lap. You might just see in the background, there it is, the yellow Mercedes of Jules Gounon, the Winward car. Winward were 2nd of the pit stop challenge last year. They've had the best pit stop of the race so far, and Jules can see that this is his opportunity to catch back up and maybe overtake at least one of these 3 cars for the net lead of the race. The net leader is still Auer from Pepper, from Preining. This is the driver, though, that's trying to get back into that top 3, back into the mix. Preining, you can see, desperately weaving away in the background in the Porsche, trying to get some heat into those tyres. as our net leaders nose to tail work their way around the corner ahead. And look at this, Lucas Auer looking back at Jordan Pepper. He senses an opportunity to pounce here. This is for the net leader of the race, Jules Gounon, getting bigger and bigger and bigger in the mirrors of Thomas Preining as they whip their way through the chicane, about to go through turn 10 at 130 kilometres an hour. This is the chance for Jules Gounon. This is where he's got to pounce. Preining knows it. Preining, you can see, was already covering the inside line. We've got Maro Engel in the pits. But what's happening at the end of the back straight? Have we got Jules Gounon through or not? And the answer is not. Preining has kept him at bay for a net third place, just about. And the longer the lap goes on, the more chance Preining has as fending off Gounon. But this is going to be another test as he comes out of the last corner. Gounon gets a much better run on the curbs. Preining almost has those tyres out to temperature, and here Gounon just showing his nose. It's going to be hard to overtake, but he's going to try and commit around the outside. Two brilliant drivers side by side, but Preining just about fends off the Andorran and holds on to a net third place for now.
Wow, what a lap that was, both by Thomas Preining and Jules Gounon. Jules Gounon knew this was his chance. He hasn't given up yet, though, has he? At the moment, he's lost a position due to the pit sequence. But now, Jules Gounon trying to come back at Thomas Preining.
Yeah, Maro Engel came out just in front of Auer, but he's on cold tyres, so Auer gets back into the net lead of the race. Pepper's going to get ahead of him for sure, you would think, but he might end up in net third here. Look how he's dancing around in that Mercedes, just no grip on the cold tyres. Around the outside with his tyres up to temperature goes Pepper for a net second place. But I tell you what, Engel has got a really good chance here of winding up in third place. It all depends on the next half a lap, because Preining and Gounon will be getting closer to him, and he feel if he loses one place, he might lose two here. But he's got a bit of a gap at the end of the back straight. He's still just holding on in that Mercedes, number 24 for the year this year. A change of number, a change of livery, but the same old wily driver, Maro Engel, last year's third place in the championship driver, is hanging on to a net third. Preining now knows he's probably got one more clear opportunity, and that's going to be into the next corner. But Engel is for now hanging on. He's also got to keep an eye on the mirrors, because he's not done with Jules Gounon yet, and more drivers and more cars are about to come out of the pit lane. Look at Gounon, looks to the inside line is covered. Preining driving on the mirrors, goes a bit deep into the corner on the way to turn 2. He's really hugging the curb here and just about fends off the Mercedes, and that really helps out Maro Engel, and Maro Engel is the one who's gained the most here, as Jules Gounon has another luck on the way into Hassenroder at turn 3. But Preining's trying to attack and defend at the same time here, Brian.
Well, I was expecting to see a Winwood Mercedes in third place at the end of the pit stops. I wasn't expecting it to be that one. So Jules Gounon has certainly lost out during the pit sequence, but you can see he has not given up. Jules Gounon does not give up. And here he is, taking that wider line, but that's just lost him places. Now, Thomas Preining close to Maro Engel. So can the Porsche do anything about the Mercedes AMG in front of him? Of course, if Thomas Preining makes a move on Maro Engel and it doesn't stick, he's just going to let Jules Gounon through as Luca Engsler into the pits for his mandatory stop.
Yeah, Luca Engsler, Arjun Maini and Tom Callender all in the pits at the moment. Engsler away. The Grasser Racing team, the Austrian team, let their man go. Remember, Luca won his first ever race in the DTM at this event last year. Led the championship at the end of the weekend. Great to see him back in the championship for a third season. He had a horrific accident at the high-speed Mandarin corner at Macau at the end of the year in qualifying. Talked to Thomas Preining about that at the start of the weekend. He said, you know what, if he hadn't done it, I probably would have done it on the next lap, because we were trying to go flat out through there. He did go flat out, and then, you know, I didn't do it in the end because I saw what happened, and he comes right into the thick of the battle, look. But he's on the cold tyres, and Gounon had to get off the line a bit there. It cost him a couple of tenths, I think, in the Mercedes, and that's why he's fallen back now a little bit from Thomas Preining. So the net leader is Lucas Auer. Next second is Jordan Pepper. Then Maro Engel from 5th on the grid is a net 3rd. Once everybody makes their pit stops, there is Engel in the blue and gold Mercedes. Then Preining a net 4th, and Gounon a net 5th as it stands. Maurice Schuring, though, is your race leader for now. Nicky Tim is in 2nd place. They have still, though, to make their mandatory pit stop.
So Maurice Schuring leading the DTM for the very first time in his career. I dare say probably not the last. The team at Mercedes-AMG Landgraf congratulating each other. Good job done. Scary moment for all of them. We've still got 6 cars yet to pit, make that 5. As the 64 car Fabio Scherer is into the pits for his stop as well. So 5 still yet to come in. When they're all done and dusted, all being well, it'll be this car here who will re-inherit the lead.
Guess who had the best pit stop so far? Lucas Auer. That's what they're all cheering down at Landgraf. 6.3 seconds. A really, really good effort. There was a 6.4 from Schubert as well, who were front runners in the pit stop challenge last year. They ended up winning the team championship last year. That helped them to do it. And Marco Wittmann with a really good pit stop as well. So Maurice Schuring, Nicky Tim and Ben Green are the top three. René Rast is fourth. Fabio Scherer has just come into the pits from fifth. So the Aston Martin of Nicolas Bart is going to move up to sixth place, but it's got to make its, or fifth place rather, but it's got to make its pit stop.
We've got Luca Engsler under investigation for the pit stop, and he's got a penalty lap, and that is for speeding in the pit lane. So Luca Engsler, that's such a shame. He's had such a strong race, but broke that speed limit in the pit lane. He is going to have to visit the penalty box.
It cost him about 5 seconds, won't it, as you run through the 100-metre long box on the exit to turn 3 at 50 kilometres an hour. And you can only go past the pit wall once before you have to serve it as well, so you've got to do it pretty quickly. Here then is this battle for a net third place between Maro Engel and the Mercedes, the Porsche of the 2023 champion Thomas Preining, and just fallen away from a little bit now is Jules Gounon. Here though, we're back in pit stop action, and this gives you a sense of just how frantic it can be on the number 92 Maurice Schuring car. Manthey Yeme though, brilliant at their pit stops normally. He lights up the tyres, away he goes, and he is just coming down the pit lane as the net leaders are still making their way through the back end, through the first and second turns. So he's going to come out right in the thick of the action somewhere around Mirko Bortolotti, I think, who is battling to try and get a top 10 finish. You're on board with Jack Aitken, who's in that sort of mid-pack group as well in his Ferrari, the British driver, back for his third race season in DTM, having won 3 races last year. But also had a few too many non-point scoring finishes to really be a championship competitor. Through the penalty box he goes.
That stings, doesn't it?
Yeah, past come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
Oof.
cars.
Yeah.
That's how much it cost him. So a mission now for Luca Engsler, because we know he's quick, we know the car is quick. Let's see what he can do. I'll fire him up, that's for sure. But last year we saw a visit to the penalty, or 2 years ago, for Thomas Preining, a visit to the penalty box, and he was never able to get the positions back, was he? He never was able to get back into the lead. So if you were watching qualifying and then you've missed everything in between, you have a look and you go, oh, Ben Green's leading the race from pole position. That's nothing much has happened there, but he started at the back of the field because he lost his qualifying time. He has, though, still got to make a pit stop. Not many left now to pit because Nicky Tim has come in. Luck for Abt. René Rast is still to come in. He might as well try something different because the car is not handling well at all. And a bit slowish away, wasn't it, for the Viking? Away he goes. Here we've got the other Abt Lamborghini coming under pressure from ex-Abt employee Riccardo Feller.
Yes, how things have changed. It's here, Bortolotti's radio.
As for info, Feller behind made a wrong pit stop, so they rather get 90 seconds on top, or he has to pit one more time.
So not only is Mirko Bortolotti learning a new team, but the team are learning a new car. Of course, they were running the Audi last year with Riccardo Feller and Kelvin van der Linde, but now Abt Sportsline with the Lamborghini Huracan, and they're learning that as well.
Audi just driving past there,
yeah.
So Bortolotti giving him the position there. It just seemed relatively straightforward, that, didn't it? But Bortolotti slots back in behind Riccardo Feller. So Feller in the Audi moving ahead of his old team there, the sole Audi in the race. A little bit wide into the apex of the corner there from Riccardo. Number 29 Audi, though, does make the turn, gets through and accelerates away nicely. Great vision there of the run through the chicane. This is the back straight. There is Jack Aitken in the foreground, the ex-Formula 1 racer. Anh Nguyen, who was second quickest in the pre-season test here at Oschersleben at the start of April, behind his teammate Thomas Preining, and was up there right at the top of the times, or near the top of the times, in the free practice sessions yesterday as well, but could only qualify in the 4th row of the grid. He is due some better results in this championship, because Anh Nguyen is a far better driver than his results so far in DTM over the last 2 years have given us, and the Turkish driver, very likeable, would be hoping for his best season of the DTM so far. There he goes through in the largely green Porsche with Marco Wittmann in the largely green BMW, around about half a second behind him there, 9th and 10th. So Ben Green, there he is, your race leader, trying something different. So if they pull this off and he gets a 33, 34 second pit stop, all told, in and out, that would put him somewhere around Jules Gounon and in front of Jack Aitken, but of course probably going to lose a few seconds in terms of the pace on the cold tyre. He comes in now, but I tell you what, he's got a really good chance of being in the top 10. He's definitely got a chance of being in the points and in the top 15 from the back of the grid. That'd be a pretty good result, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a heck of a result. He was so chuffed after what he thought was pole position this morning. He's looked dialed in from the moment he got here, Ricardo Feller, Team Radio.
I believe that we have a penalty, but we are still discussing it. So we keep driving. For us, it's not clear. So we keep driving.
Okay, so they're arguing the point as to whether he came into the pits too early, which is why he hasn't served that penalty yet. Maybe why Mirko Borslotty thought, yeah, I won't get involved in this fight because he might have to pit again anyway. Right, big moment this. A big couple of minutes coming up for Ben Green.
Slow getting away.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Away he goes, a bit like the Nicky Tim exit from the pit box that was. So away he goes. The stationary time is 8.1 seconds, which again is not terrible, but it's losing a couple of seconds to the very best pit stops that we've seen in the session. So Ben Green making his way now down the pit lane. The Aitken group has just gone through, actually, so he's going to rejoin somewhere in and around Argentini in the next group of cars, but still kind of on the fray of the points. I mean, Ben Green is quick because he got pole position, admittedly, with a car that was lighter than it should have been, but he's been quick all the way through the practice sessions as well. So Ben Green, former DTM Trophy champion, former frontrunner in Ginetta Super Cup, started his race career in terms of cars as a Ginetta Junior driver in the UK, but he's been racing over here for a number of years now, a couple of seasons in the ADAC GT Masters Championship. He's raced a Nosa Milfray from last season in GT World Challenge racing as well. A big couple of laps coming up now to get back into that pack and try to get some points out of the race, which he's got a good chance of doing. René Rast then is, if I'm not mistaken, the last driver into the pits, isn't he?
Yes, Ricardo Feller has been shown as not being a stopper on your graphic, but that is a point that is very much up for discussion. So it's Lucas Auer who retakes the lead of the race ahead of Jordan Pepper, but the gap is down to just 1.5 seconds with all the pit stops done and dusted. Has Jordan Pepper got anything in his pocket that he can bring to the table? Can he get anywhere near the race leader? 1.5 seconds between first and second. Maro Engel in that third place ahead of Thomas Preining. Jules Gounon. Jack Aitken's come out of the pit stop sequence quite well with a 6th place ahead of Ain Nguyen.
Yeah, Jordan Pepper, the South African driver, came over to Europe in 2013, 12 years ago, to race, and that's going to be a retirement, I'm afraid, for René Rast. Jordan Pepper came to race in Europe in the VW Sirocco R Cup, which was on the support bill to the DTM back in the day, and he won the championship in 2014, the year after a certain Kelvin van der Linde won it, and they've been friends and have shared apartments in the past as well. So great to see Jordan finally get the chance to now make what is become his mandatory pit stop is Ricardo Feller. So they argued the case, but it's difficult to argue against the clock, isn't it? Because you know there's not much leeway there, and they will have checked. Please, can you make sure you check it? But by, I don't think very much, by a tiny amount, he came in just a bit too early, and that's been reaffirmed. So right to get them to check it, but in the end, he's had to serve another pit stop, which is going to drop him right down to the pretty much the back of the field. That's Gilles Magnus coming through in the Aston Martin. There is your race leader coming through shot next, so he's going to be potentially lapped here, isn't he? As Lucas Auer crosses the line, goes through turns, one turn, so he's about 1.6 seconds clear of Jordan Pepper. His last lap was about half a tenth quicker, so there's not much between them, but quicker than both of them, third place, Maro Engel. Keep an eye on him.
The other thing about Ricardo Feller's stop is, of course, he had to do another tyre change because the pit stop has to feature a tyre change, so he's probably on tyres that are not optimum, not what was planned at the start of the event, because they had to change off whatever they'd put on in the premature stop. So Ricardo Feller a double disadvantage there as he's stone last with the one retiree.
Ben Green didn't come out of all of that as high up as I thought. I thought he'd be on the fringe of the top 15 at least, but he's back in 19th. And he's got quite a bit of ground to make up. 3 seconds to make up on Fabio Scherer, 10 seconds to make up on Tom Callender. So it's still looking like he could do with a safety car to have a chance, really, of getting some points out of this. You see the Land Audi of Ricardo Feller letting the leaders, the leading group through. Preining there in the front of your shot, running in 4th place, 5th place, Jules Gounon. The gap between the Porsche and the Mercedes is still around about 0.6 of a second. So huge frustration there for the team. So we maybe thought they might struggle with the actual pit stop element of the pit stop Land Motorsport, because it's new to them having to get a car in and out as quick as possible. Used to endurance racing, we have a minimum stop time. But it wasn't the pit stop that was the problem, it was the timing of when he came in for the pit stop that's ended up tripping them up. But I guess you're always going to expect to have a few mishaps and a few learning curves when you're coming into a championship for the first few rounds.
Great shots from our drone as cars head around turn 3. Hasseröder and out towards turn 4. Fairly spaced out at the moment. Still Lucas Hauer with 1.598 over Jordan Pepper. So the gap remaining stable. Still 12.5 minutes remaining plus 1 lap. Get the feeling maybe this battle is not entirely over though. Thomas Preining in 4th place. Jules Gounon is still there. He's certainly not settling for 5th place.
And another mention for Arjun in the Ford, in the points. If he can get in the points at the end of the race, it's 14th currently. That'll be the first points for Ford in the DTM for more than 30 years, which would be a fantastic start to the season for them. Right, let's get some news now then with Verena Vries down in the pit lane.
And I'm here with René Rast. How unfortunate the first race of the season you had to retire. What was the issue? You seem to be struggling more or less from the beginning.
I had an engine alarm or an engine power alarm before the start, which means I had very little power. We tried to save us throughout the pit stop window, but yeah, nothing happened. So we decided to retire the car in the end because there was nothing to gain for us.
All right, thank you very much, René. Very unfortunate. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. There you can see the graphic bottom right of the picture. Each lap that he's running a race, combined with all the drivers added up, €4 given by BWT and the ADAC who run the championship to the Race Laps for Wells in Africa campaign, which is done for a few years now, and they've raised hundreds of thousands of pounds for a charity which tries to give cleaner water to villages in selected African countries. Do a fantastic job. It's great to see BWT also partner with the DTM in trying to be a more sustainable paddock as well, with no plastic bottles available for sale in any of the paddocks for the last few years in the DTM, and water points around the circuit to help reduce the plastic waste. As we see, one of the drivers so far having a really good run, Arjun Maini, 14th place he wouldn't normally be that happy with, but when you got a new car in the championship, and it's only a year and a half or so since the Mustang made its GT3 debut in any series, and when you're in the DTM, you bring in the car in, it's not really a track that suits a big heavy car like that, Oschersleben. To be in the points, 14th, I think he'd be really happy with that.
Yeah, he said when we chatted to him earlier in the week that this is the one circuit that really doesn't suit the Mustang. So he'll be quite happy to get anything out of Oschersleben. So for the debut for the Ford, great to have it here. I have to tell you, you need to hear one of these things in real life. The ground shakes when the Mustang comes roaring past.
Last lap for the race leader Lucas Hauer, 1:24.0. For Jordan Pepper in second, 1:23.5. It took half a second out of the Austrians' advantage on the previous lap. There you can see them. The gap you can see has visually come down by a couple of car lengths. There's an Aston Martin coming up to be lapped as well. That's the number 8 car of Nicola Bart in the Come To You Racing Aston Martin Vantage. The team Come To You Racing, brand new to the DTM, very much a private team as well. They've got some support from Aston Martin, but it's not a backed team as such. It's not a factory team, and Nicola gets out of the way. The team started out as a team back in the day as a Fun Cup team, racing in Fun Cup endurance racing. With the VW Beetle silhouettes on those cars, which only produce around about 130 brake horsepower, then moved up through touring cars into TCR, and then only moved Come To You Racing into the GT3s. Only moved into the GT3s 2 years ago. First year was with Audi, last year was their first with Aston Martin. They've got 5 Aston Martins now, still competing in other series as well. But we were able to catch up with Francois Verbis, the team principal, before the race, and he was saying, look, there's no pressure from the top. We're here to learn. Of course, we want to compete, but we're just trying to get better and better as the season goes on. It's a long-term project. We want to be in the DTM for a few seasons at least. And it's just for us about improving ourselves, getting better, getting more competitive each time. We're not expecting any results in this first season. And, and again, this is a circuit which won't really suit them. It was always going to be a tough start for them in the Aston. It's great to see the Belgian squad who moved factories over the winter period as well, moved to near Brussels in Belgium. They've had a busy period as a fast-growing team, very much a family-orientated team. Lots of the people that are working on the pit crews have worked with the team before in the GT World Challenge. They're the best pit crew in that championship a couple of years ago as well. So he said, we'll be good at our pit stops. Apparently they practice them 5 o'clock on the dot every day. René Rast, forlorn figure, walking back. There is another forlorn figure, Torsten Schubert, the team boss at Schubert Motorsport. So probably a late night to try and get René Rast's car sorted, because that engine issue has curtailed him right from the word go. But look at this battle for the lead of the race. It is on, isn't it? And Jordan Pepper fancies a win, not just a podium, in what's only his 3rd race in the DTM.
Yes, it's not just about grunt in DTM, it's also about looking after the car, looking after the tyres. We don't know what kind of tyres that they put on, what state the tyres were in, how used they were after the pit stop, but you get the feeling that Jordan Pepper may have a little bit more grip than Lucas Howell. You just see the back end of the car sliding a little as he headed around the Hasseröder turn 3. But the game on with just over 7 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. You get the feeling that this is not all over yet, because the gap now down to 0.755. So Jordan Pepper has halved the gap to the lead in just a few moments. I think Lucas Howell is going to have his mirrors full of Lamborghini before too long.
They're pushing each other on as well, because they've now got down to the sorts of times that Maro Engel was doing a couple of laps ago, down to the mid-123s, and Maro's actually a bit slower on that last lap, so he was catching them for a time. He's now fallen away by a few tenths on that lap. And look at this, Fabio Scherer going wheel to wheel with the Ferrari of Ben Green, and Ben Green gets the cut back on the way out of the corner. The big Mustang is forced out wide on the exit to turn 3, and Ben Green is through. He gains a place, so it was nearly 4 seconds he had to pull back after that pit stop to get ahead of Scherer. He's done it, and he's up to 18th place now, but he's got another even bigger gap to try and catch the next driver, which is Tom Callender in 17th place. This is the battle for 14th. Arjun Maini in the blue and yellow Ford Mustang. Over 60 years, the Ford Mustang as a car has been a real hit on the roads of the world. Really famous and much loved brand, and lots of Ford fans here supporting their return to the DTM, and Arjun Maini giving them something to cheer at the moment, running around in 14th. Nicky Tim, though, is menacing, as he always is. The Viking breathing down his neck. This is the rear-facing onboard camera with Arjun Maini over the start-finish line, heading up to around about just 240 kilometres an hour, sticking on the brakes, go left. Bodywork flying left, right and centre. It was a bit of Mustang, I think, wasn't it? He had that bodywork from lap 1, lap 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Do you remember Marco Wittmann at Zandvoort last year?
Yes.
The car was falling apart and he still managed to win the race.
Right, Jordan Pepper, Team Radio.
Maro is always 3 seconds, so push to the front.
We can see that, push it to the front. Having said that, Lucas Howell has responded, so the gap's up to just a fraction under a second between first and second. Catching is one thing, passing is another, as they say. Jules Gounon is still not settled for 5th either, but this is going to go all the way to the end. We're in the last 5 minutes of the race. Remember, when the clock strikes 0, drivers will complete the lap they're on, then have one more. Arjun Maini having a fabulous Saturday afternoon drive. There goes that little bit of the right rear quarter that had been trailing all along. Just behind him, there was Nicky Tim. Maurice Schering just 1 position away from scoring points on his debut as well.
Slightly lighter Ford Mustang now for Arjun Maini. Great view into his eyes as well from behind the steering wheel and the other onboard camera. Arjun, the picture of concentration, doing a great job. By the way, if you think you recognise the voice of the race engineer for Jordan Pepper, you probably do if you followed DTM for the last couple of years, because it's David Grabengieser, who was the SSR performance race engineer last year for Mirko Bortolotti. So he's got Mirko Bortolotti's ex-engineer. He's moved across to Grassa now. It's a real coup for them, and they've been having a fantastic start to the season so far. Luca Engsler, despite his run through the penalty box, he's still doing okay in 10th place, isn't he? Ahead of Ben Durst, having a really good run in 11th place, looking to pick up these first points of the season already. Bearing in mind last year, 20th in qualifying, finished at the back of the field. Ben Durr and the Durr Motorsport team, the McLaren, have made huge strides forward already, it seems. So good to see young Ben Durr running well in 11th place. So it's Auer from Pepper, Engel in third, not really catching them anymore, falling away by a couple of tenths of a second per lap. Preining fourth, Gunon fifth, Aitken sixth, Guon in seventh, Wittmann in eighth, and then Bortolotti from 12th on the grid, ninth, 10th place for Luca Engstler, and the others in the points are Durr, Powell, Vermeulen, Miney and Tim.
Lucas Auer responding again, now just eking the gap up to a little over 1 second up front. So he looks to have this under control. We're into just about the last 3 minutes plus 1 lap of this race. So time's starting to run out for any place changes. Marco Wittmann in that 8th place, relatively lonely. Mirko Bortolotti, a bit of a queue forming behind him, so clearly not got the pace that he would want in that car. Luca Engstler there, as is Ben Durr, as previously mentioned, and Max Powell. Behind them, Thierry Vermeulen, having a fairly quiet afternoon himself.
Ben Durr is on course for his best result so far in what's his second season of the DTM. 15th at the Lausitzring, at Zandvoort and Nürburgring last year, so had 3 visits to the points last year, but he's never been as high as 11th. We caught up with him before the start of the weekend and again before the race, and he was very happy, very smiling. Actually looked really relaxed as well, Ben Durr, so great to see. Rainer Dorr, the team principal, will be well chuffed with the strides forward as well. And he's been there on performance and pace all the way through the weekend, really. He was impressive yesterday in the free practice sessions, and he's carried that through to Saturday. So Ben Durr doing an excellent job there in 11th place in that McLaren, not far behind Luca Engstler and Nicky Tim, who were both race winners, of course, in the DTM last year.
Max Powell's planning on ruining Ben Durr's party, getting close. You just saw how hard he was pushing with the dust that rose up into the air. The blue flag being shown to Ricardo Falla and to the Aston Martin to let them know that in fact, the Aston Martin to let them know that Aintjan Nguyen is coming through. But yes, Max Powell closing in on Ben Durr, so he fancies stealing away that 11th place and those valuable points.
Yeah, Gilles Magnus in the, was it Nicola Bart? Nicola Bart possibly in the number 8 Aston Martin, getting out of the way of Aintjan Nguyen very nicely. Good use of the mirrors there, and the blue flags coming from the marshals. The glance of the mirrors there from Mirko Bortolotti. Damage limitation, it's been all right though, 9th place. They won't panic at that. They can figure out what cost him that top speed in qualifying. He can go again tomorrow, but when you're having a bad day, Mirko Bortolotti is very good at still getting something out of it, and that's what helped him to win the championship last year, Brian.
It's consistency, isn't it? It's just always being there, just picking up the points. Ask Thomas Preining about that one. On board with him, you can see the view in his mirror. You can see Luca Engstler lined up behind him as well. But we're into the last 45 seconds of timed racing.
So Lucas Auer looking for his first win since the end of 2022. 0.6 of a second clear of Jordan Pepper, who's about to get onto the podium in only his 3rd DTM race, and Maro Engel in 3rd place, picking up exactly where he left off last year with a super consistent performance. They struggled the first half of the year with qualifying, didn't they? And there were a couple of storming drives through from lowly grid positions for Maro, but they got much better in qualifying the second half of the year. And in the race, he's always there or thereabouts. So Maro Engel sort of got on under the radar a little bit this weekend, but he will be there in this championship fight, no doubt about it. But he's dropped back from these two now, that's for sure. And Jordan Pepper still keeping the pressure on. It's worth doing, isn't it? Because you never know. Try and make sure the driver ahead is on the limit, having to be on the limit, and that might just force them into a mistake. Don't give them an easy run to the flag. The time has just ticked down, so it runs out on this lap. So that means 1 and a bit more laps to go in the race as they go down the back straight and into towards the right-left flick at the turn 11, turn 12 section for the penultimate time in the race. The leaders go through. Engel on his own, still in 3rd place, looking for a podium. And then it's Preining and Gunon next up, 4th and 5th. Still only half a second between them.
Yes, Jordan Pepper took about 4/10 out of Lucas Auer on that lap, but out on to the pit straight to start the final lap of the race. Really, the only main overtaking opportunity is going to be about now, and I think he's too far back to do anything about it. Heading in towards the left-handed turn 1, yes, far too far back. But as you say, keeping the pressure on, hoping that Lucas Auer can make a mistake and go wide in the corner, but That's not something Lucas Auer is famous for. So just keeping the pressure on, but Jordan Pepper looking like second place is as good as it's going to get. Would just say there is a monstrous crowd here at the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena here, enjoying the sunshine this afternoon, enjoying the final lap of the opening race of the season, enjoying Lucas Auer leading the way from Jordan Pepper.
This is the 49th race in the DTM for Grasser, and it's about to be their another visit to the podium for them. It will be podium number 12. They've got a pretty good record in this championship. They look racier than ever. They've got a really good driver lineup with Jordan Pepper and Luca Engsler. It's a great start to the season for Gottfried Grasser's team. They'll be pretty happy, very happy, I think, with second place. But for Lucas Auer, he's almost there now. Just one sector to go. He's on course for win number 10 in his DTM career. The first one for more than 2 seasons. He goes around turn 13. He comes into turn 14. Win number 10. The championship lead, round 1, goes to Lucas Auer.
Well done. Congratulations, Luki. Race win, pole position, fastest lap. Well done, my friend. Good start to the season. Thank you so much, man.
Maximum points. 3 of them for pole position, and all of the points for the race victory. There is a very happy Austrian and hugely likeable Lucas Auer. Great to see him, one of the stalwarts of the DTM. And he was always one of those drivers, because he came from the Class 1 era of DTM, but he was one of those drivers. I remember that first season in GT 3 cars in 2021 of the DTM. He adapted so quickly to the change. Not everybody could. And he had a brilliant season in 2022, just missed out of the championship to Sheldon van der Linde. And here he is, 2025 championship lead. You've just got to keep it going for another 15 races now, Lucas.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well, a lot of experience on his shoulders already, and certainly putting that to good use, and very, very solid. Celebrations also in the garage of TGI Team Lamborghini by GRT. Very solid performance from Jordan Pepper. I don't think a lot of people had that on their bingo cards coming into the weekend, but suddenly into second in the championship. Maro Engel always there or thereabouts, picking up a podium. Thomas Preining in that 4th place, with Zhu Gunon monstering him all the way, and Jack Aitken, the winner this time last year, in 6th place.
That's an 11th podium in the DTM for Maro Engel, in 3rd place. And on his 50th start in the DTM, points at least for Mirko Bortolotti there in 9th place. Tomorrow, by the way, will be the 150th race start in the DTM for Mr. T. Glock in the McLaren. So he'll hope for a better day, that's for sure. Back in 20th place, I'm afraid. But a good day for the team overall, with Ben Durr getting his best result, the team's best result so far in the championship, the start of their 2nd season, 11th place for him. And well done as well, Arjun Maini. He did drop back behind Nicky Tim late on in the race, but he still got into the points. 15th place, a championship point for Ford and the Mustang on their return to the DTM for the first time since 1994. And for HRT, running the cars, the Fords, for the first time in the DTM, having been long-term partners with Mercedes, they will be quietly pleased, I think, as well, to get off to a decent start with that 15th place and that championship point already coming their way. Now, Lucas Auer might not be have the greatest stature in terms of height, but I can tell you from first-hand experience, he's incredibly strong. You get a high five from Lucas Auer, it nearly takes your arm off. And I bet you that he's going to leap onto the top of that car in a minute and jump for joy. This is going to be quite a moment. It's been more than 2 years, October 2022, since we saw Lucas Auer on the top step of a podium in the DTM. You're about to see pure joy, I reckon, from the Austrian. He's always got a smile on his face, but he'll have a beaming grin ear to ear when he gets that helmet off. Jordan Pepper will be well pleased as well. Already a podium finisher in the DTM, and Maro Engel in 3rd. Here we go. Up to the top he goes. Careful, careful now. There he goes. Yeah. Big cheer. New colour scheme, new team this year, new helmet, same skill. Great to see him back. And he goes, as ever, the sportsman, straight over to congratulate Jordan Pepper on his 2nd place finish, and showing that there's already respect between those 2 drivers. Jack Aitken, quite race really, but 6th place. And again, if you're not having a great day, that was what the team wasn't really able to do last year or the year before, get good points when they weren't challenging for wins. So, okay, he'll be all right with that, Jack Aitken. He wants to win, of course. He wants to win races, get podiums, but he'll be all right with 6th place. If that's a bad day this season, then he's going to have a good 2025. There he is then. A bit calmer than I thought. I think he'd be going wild, Lucas Auer, but he's probably a bit tired, to be fair. It's you don't get much respite around this lap, Brian. It's full on, isn't it, around Oschersleben?
It is, because it's a track that bites. There's no runoff areas. You can't afford to make mistakes, otherwise you're into the barrier. So, yeah, high concentration required. There's Jordan Pepper. Looking fairly chilled about the whole situation, isn't he? But that is really good news. We saw him at the Saxon Ring last year, making his DTM debut, and now the first full season. There is Maro Engel. Just got on with the job, didn't make a fuss. He took advantage during the pit stop sequence, and that's where he made the best move, coming home the last of the podium positions.
Confirmation of the results. Lucas Auer wins for Mercedes, the current manufacturers' champions, and for Team Landgraf, that's their 2nd win in the DTM. Maro Engel won for them 2 years ago at Zandvoort. Jordan Pepper and Maro Engel on the podium. 2023 champion Thomas Preining 4th. Jules Gunon, Jack Aitken in 5th and 6th. Anjan Guin, Marco Wittmann, Mirko Bortolotti and Luca Axler in the top 10. And then Ben Durr, his best result in the DTM, 11th. Max Powell, 12th. Thierry Vermeulen 13th, Nicky Tim 14th, and Arjun Maini 15th were the other points finishers. But a really disappointing day for René Rast, the only retiree in the race, and with a car that was struggling all the way through, down on power. So, what a race, what a start to the season. Let's find out what the drivers thought about it. Down with Verena.
And now I've got the very happy winner here, Luki Auer. Congratulations. I mean, you were pushing really, really hard. You had somebody breathing down your neck like hell, and yet you made it. So I want to see a big smile for your first win of the season.
Yeah, amazing. Big thanks to my team. What an amazing pit stop. We have to say that Landgraf is back after 1 year break, and to deliver such a pit stop is, I know how hard they train, so big shootouts and amazing.
Absolutely. Last year you didn't have a win, so now it's even better to start the season like that, and hopefully it'll continue just like that.
Yes, hopefully.
All right. Enjoy. Thank you so much, Luki. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, he's absolutely right. That was a great pit stop. It's something to do with Lugi, obviously, because when he was with Winward last year, they were one of the top teams at pit stops, weren't they? Finished 2nd in the pit stop challenge. So, yeah, great job. It makes a difference, doesn't it? And you know, you lose half a second, you lose a second. He might have lost the race win there, but the team kept him in it.
Yes, he seemed almost not subdued, but very reserved, didn't he? Just taking it all in. Great to have him back on the podium. They're jumping on the podium. 3rd place is Maro Engel.
Yeah, Maro Engel, great effort by him once again, from 5th on the grid to finish 3rd. He'll take that absolutely. And Jordan Pepper, first time on the podium in the DTM. It only took him 2 weekends and 3 races. I think there might be a few more to come, Jordan, maybe on the higher step at some point this season, I reckon, the way he and the team are going. But for now, top dog is Lucas Auer. He is your race winner for round 1 of DTM 2025, with Team Landgraf, of course, as the winning team at the start of the season after a year away. So their 2nd win in DTM. Congratulations to them. Great pit stop. They'll lead the pit stop challenge as well. Couldn't have been a much better day. Let's now hear the Austrian national anthem. Huge, huge congratulations to Lucas Auer, winner of the season opener. Do you know what I think? I think he's thinking, yeah, first win for a while, but this now needs to be the order of the season. I want to win more. This is about trying to win the championship, and he is definitely a contender. Get Ensa from the ADAC, the sports president, presenting the winner's trophy to a huge smile on the face of Lucas Auer. And there'll be some pretty good celebrations with the champagne, I reckon, from the Austrian as well. He's pretty good at that, if I remember rightly. It's his 10th win, his 24th podium in the DTM, his 13th pole earlier. Look at that, pure joy for Jordan Pepper. First DTM trophy. 12 odd years since he came to start racing in Europe. He's always dreamt of being here. And, well, we're used to having very rapid South Africans on the podium in the DTM, aren't we? I'm sure Kelvin and Sheldon van der Linde will be cheering on their mate and will be really happy. Great to see both of those doing well in other forms of racing as well. Kelvin, of course, on the podium at Imola last week, which was great to see in the GT Classic in WEC, championship runner-up from last year. And the rest of the trophies now presented to second, third, and the winning team. They all now make their way onto the top step of the podium. Lucas Auer in the middle, to the left of your picture, Jordan Pepper, to the right, Maro Engel. And now it's time for the final race. He's nearly dropped his trophy there. It's wobbling, but it's going to stay on. We've got an onboard on the champagne as well. Fantastic. So the champagne showers for the first time, and they'll need that. Pretty hot work, 18 degrees outside, but it's going to be around about 45 degrees in those cars. Super, super hot. They're super fit, these drivers. And he's getting absolutely soaked, isn't he? Lucas, well, he might as well jump in the lake. He's that wet. There might be a little bit left to drink, but not much, I don't think, Brian.
Yeah, he'll smell glorious after that, won't he? He'll need a clean set of overalls for tomorrow, because tomorrow morning we're going to have quali and we're going to do it all again. Of course, we've got the new format of race tomorrow with 2 mandatory stops, and that might just throw a bit of a spanner in the works. But at the moment, certainly celebrations for Lucas Auer, Jordan Pepper, looking pretty delighted too. And Maro Engel, always there or thereabouts, isn't he? Just always there, picking up the points, and that's how championships are won.
Yeah, it was his mate Maro Engel that was giving him the proper drenching with the champagne, because they raced together to the title in the GT World Challenge Sprint Cup last year. So they're good driving partners, great friends. Get a selfie on the podium, send that off to the family. By the way, I won the race at the DTM, he says to everybody, sends that back through. Well done, Lucas Auer, and he dealt with everything there. Once he got pole position, once it was promoted to pole position, of course, he will have expected to win, and great of him to give enormous credit to the team for this pit stop, because it was tight. He just got out, didn't he, in front of Jordan Pepper. If they'd been half a second down, he'd have come out behind the South African, because Grasser had a really good pit stop as well, and in the end, that was probably the difference. They were both as quick as each other, really, weren't they, in that race?
Yeah, and I think if Jordan had got him on the pit stops, he may have struggled to have got back past him.
Indeed so. Right, let's get some more from the drivers with Verena.
And I'm here with Jordan Pepper. Way to go, Jordan. I mean, you're second place in your very first race of this whole season. Obviously, last year you already did 2 races as a guest starter, but now what a brilliant job. You've got to be excited.
Yeah, I mean, the whole weekend's been really strong so far. I think we've only been second, so yeah, it's been incredible. I think Lugi was super quick at the start. He drove a good start, and then I got lucky, obviously, with the traffic and the guys on their way out the pits, and it kind of gave me that second chance. Our guys did an incredible pit stop. We almost got them in the pit lane. I tried to give him my all in the last stint there, but he was just too good today. So second for me is a win here. It's my first podium, honestly, and now we put our head down and keep pushing for more.
Oh, and you gained your respect today, that's for sure, because you were making Luki's life pretty difficult. I mean, you were pushing so hard, and I mean, you almost had him there.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of gave me an opportunity with a couple laps to go with a few mistakes, and I tried my best to get involved and get in, but I think the only way to really make a move on him was probably through something that I don't want to do. So it's the first race of the season. We have 15 more races to go, and to collect the points, P2, first podium, I mean, it's a dream day for us here at TGI Team Cross Racing.
And speaking of dream day, what do you think about our conditions to the weather god? Almost like South African weather, right?
Not quite. The wind is a bit cold, but no, it's good. I mean, yeah, no, complaining on a high level. It was a brilliant day, and it's also, I have to say, a big shout out to see so many guys and so many fans from this morning coming into the track at 8 o'clock this morning to see everyone here. It's amazing. It just shows that motorsport is peaking, and DTM's doing an incredible job.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jordan. And now here are your commentators.
Thanks, Verena. Well done, Jordan. Excellent job by him. I think there might be a few more trophies coming your way, Sunshine, if you keep driving like that. Of course, he's a really experienced driver now, a former pro champion in the GT World Challenge America. He's won Bathurst, the 12 hours. He's raced in the IMSA Sports Car Championship. He's gained and garnered a lot of experience over the last decade or so. But this is where he wants to be, and he has proven already that he belongs. To be fair, I think he proved that when he had that guest weekend at Sachsenring last year, because he was very rapid there on his debut weekend. But he is going to be a factor in this championship. Right, we can get more now down in the pit lane with Verena.
And I'm here with Maro Engel, who pushed really hard, starting from P5 and then getting onto the podium with a 3rd place. So that's a good start into the new season, right? You got a smile on your face.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever you're on the podium in DTM, I think you've done a good job. So big thanks to the team. They gave me a good car and especially also a good strategy and a good pit stop. So we were able to move up those positions and yeah, good start for us.
Last year at Oschersleben, I think you were 2nd place. So obviously Oschersleben seems to be your kind of racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to come here. The track is challenging. Yeah, I think today the key was a little bit qualifying where we ran up onto another car on our peak laps. So if we can manage to start a bit higher up, then maybe we can even take that last step and maybe try and win this race.
And of course, also in DTM 2025, there are quite a few new regulations. And also tomorrow, we're going to see a bit of different rules. Are you looking forward to tomorrow's race?
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting. You know, 2 pit stops, it's going to shake things up a little bit. And for sure, you see here, with the performance being so close between all the cars, it's hard to overtake on track. So the strategy comes into play, the in laps, the out laps on cold tires. So I think it'll be interesting.
And also, how lucky are we with the weather? I mean, we've got full house, the sun shining. Obviously, it's always more fun to kind of watch a race when the sun's shining. And I guess also driving?
Driving, it doesn't make the biggest of difference, and to be honest, obviously I do enjoy the rain, but I think for everyone here it's amazing, perfect weather to come and watch the races, and I think it's the same tomorrow, so I think we can look forward to another great day.
Well, we certainly will. Thank you so much, Maro. Here are your commentators.
It's always sunny in Oschersleben. Every time we come, honestly.
Really?
Really? Sometimes. Every now and again. Yeah, really good. Huge crowd. It's been brilliant walking around the paddock, and so many people here. They've really done a great job, the ADAC, over the last few years of building the crowds, record crowds last year. And I think it's going to be even bigger this year. But Maro's right. It'll be interesting tomorrow because for Sunday races for this year, 2 mandatory pit stops. The first one will be between the 10th and 25th minute, and then a really short pit window for pit stop 2 between the 39th and 45th minute. So only a 6-minute window. It's going to be a hectic end to the race then, because then after that pit window closes for the second time, there'll only be 10 minutes left of the race, more or less, with a 55-minute plus 1 lap race distance, a slightly shorter race distance this year. It should be interesting. One thing's for sure, Brian, we always know day 2 is different to day 1 in the DTM, whether or not you got more pit stops.
It's very, very rare that you would see a similar result to the Saturday on a Sunday. So, yeah, we've got very high expectations for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Great start to the season. That's it from Brian and myself in the commentary box. Thanks for your company. Let's go back down to Verena.
So we're very happy with race day 1 of the new season. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I mean, not only the weather and the full house, but also we saw some excitement there on the racetrack. And of course, we're looking forward to tomorrow's race, race 2, with quite some new regulations. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be very exciting, so you don't want to miss that. And we're certainly looking forward to tomorrow's race and to seeing all of you, or hopefully you will be watching. So see you then. Here are the highlights. Do enjoy. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.
so they rather... Well done, congratulations, Lugi.